What's up? Hi guys, hope you had a good time. Today is Sunday. We are wrapping up the week. Welcome to another episode of this channel. My name is Good Ben. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe. We have newly opened with introduction yesterday. If you haven't watched the introductory part of this video, please kindly follow in the next link. We are going to leave there the introductory part of the videos. Yesterday we discussed the activity you're going to be doing on this channel. There are so many things going to happen on this channel, so please watch part 1 of this video so that you know our major focus on this channel about business consultings, IT solutions. We shall be looking at blockchain ecosystem, we shall be looking at financial market, we shall be looking at investment and portfolio management, we shall be looking at securities and forensic investigation. So there is a lot going to be happening in this blockchain, in this channel. So kindly subscribe to the channel, like, share and leave comments. We would like to reach 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible, so that we can create a community where I can be sharing ideas about what is happening in the market, about what is happening in the ecosystems, technologies. So let's catch up with the moving trend in these technologies. So today we are basically going to discuss about blockchain. Like as I said, there are so many things we are going to be discussing in this channel. So today we are going to be discussing about the blockchain. I've made it in a presentation, so time will come we shall create a group whereby we shall be sharing this content. So we are going to discuss something about blockchain, the underlying technology, the threat and the gap in the ecosystem. We shall look at the application of the blockchain and all the notable example. We shall look at the threat, the attack, some of the major attack in the blockchain ecosystems. We shall look at measures or tips you can take to remain secure within the environment. And then we shall also look at incident management, how you can handle in case such things happen within the environment of the blockchain ecosystems. The last part of the question will be the last part of the presentation will be question and answer. For the question and answer, we shall look at that after building some groups of community, whereby you will answer, you will ask questions, and then we share our ideas, we answer, we give our opinion in relation to what, in relation to the question that you have asked. So let's begin with our introductions. Special thanks to Satoshi Nakamoto for bringing us ideas about blockchain. Blockchain existed before Satoshi Nakamoto implemented the use case of blockchain through Bitcoin. Actually, Bitcoin was introduced around 2008 when Satoshi Nakamoto, by the pseudonymous names, Satoshi Nakamoto, the person who was behind the invention of Bitcoin. So before 2008, the blockchain technology was already into existence. It was already existing before, but the application or its use case was not yet fully discovered till this Satoshi Nakamoto came and launched for us a foundation of peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So special thanks to him. So while we are looking at blockchain, what is basically blockchain? So when we're looking at the blockchain, we are looking at our focus is in the initial layer that resolve the use of the ledger, the use of the peer-to-peer, the use of digital transaction systems or peer-to-peer systems to enable transactions happen between parties. We shall realize that with the emerging trend in this the ecosystems, the blockchain ecosystems, or the emerging trend of peer-to-peer transactions, we realize that it has paved way to other sectors or the use case Like we shall look at things like the digital currency, which we talk about the digital coins, or which include others are altcoins, others are the digital coins. So we shall also talk about things like the metaverse, the play to earn gamings, things like the DeFi, things like the NFT. Now we are looking at things like staking. They are there within the environment of what? Of the ecosystem of blockchain. So all this happen in a way of peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer means that there is no intermediary between you and the partners who you are going to what? Whom you are going to transact with. Then another thing is the transaction is always what? Is always public. So when you're looking at a blockchain, here we are looking at a database containing all these transactions. We are looking at a database, public data holding all the transactions happening on the blockchain network. So in real sense, in simple definition, we may look at blockchain as a records of records or ledger records of ledger that enable transaction to happen on a blockchain network. So the best example or the notable example of real application of blockchain, we shall look at it in the real estate development, where a blockchain exchange anyone can buy and sell property. So we shall also look at government. Government have also soon are also going to introduce the use of blockchain. Notable example is Democratic Act, which aims to build a sovereign democratic government protocol, which is also the open source. We shall also look at other real application is the IBM, the Microsoft, the Samsung, the Visa, the Honeywell. All these companies, they are trying to see how they can introduce blockchain technology in terms of storage, in terms of transactions, in terms of transportations. So these are some of the real case. Actually, by according to the research finding, by the year 2025, 10% of the world GDP will be affected or stored in blockchain world economics. Right now, if you go on CoinMarketCap, you will realize that the total CoinMarketCap or evaluations of all crypto assets, it's always must be around close to $1 trillion now. We shall get to know all those things practically. So what are the technology behind these blockchain ecosystems? How are information stored? How are data kept? So we realize that the technology underlying behind these blockchains, there is one we call hashing and encryptions. So the hashing and encryption, we have what we call secure hashing algorithm, 256 algorithm to secure the informations. So in this, we shall realize that there are two things that involve to enable transaction to happen on the blockchain. We shall have the public key and the private keys. So public keys are the address which is presented publicly. We shall demonstrate it when we are on what? When you're on our workstations, but at the moment we are still going through the explanations. So I was explaining public keys are the address which receive the transaction publicly, and when we are doing forensic analysis, we look at the public key, but behind the public key there is private key. So private keys are always stored using that secured hash algorithm, 256 algorithm, which is designed specifically what? To keep your private key confidential or private, as the name said. So we have a question here. Blockchain and Bitcoin are not the same. Do you agree? Yes, the answer is yes. Blockchain and Bitcoin, they are not the same. So 2008, as we say, Bitcoin was introduced as a type of unregulated digital currency. Introduced by who? Satoshi Nakamoto. So the purpose was to decentralize financing Decentralizing financing here means that no banks or government will have authority or regulation over financing. So that was the purpose of what? Introducing the digital or decentralized financing in the blockchain. So as such, Bitcoin can actually be considered as the first use case of blockchain, and its major purpose of use case was leveraging what? Technologies. So the confusion between Bitcoin and blockchain arise because the two concepts were introduced almost at the same time. But blockchain is the underlying technology behind what? Behind Bitcoins. So they are closely related, but they are not what? The same. So you need to take note of that. Like as I said, blockchain transactions. How does blockchain transaction, or how does transaction gets into blockchains? So to understand more of this, blockchain allow recording of transaction on a distributed ledger, like the way I had explained earlier before. So the technology allows for the storage of data for transaction into the blockchain. So this data we shall get to know like the hashing, we shall get to know the amount someone is transferring on the blockchains, we shall get to know the time parameters, we shall get to know the address, which include both public and the private address. So each block include timestamps which record the transaction which is linked to other blocks, and thus creating a chain. So in other words, each block contain a parameter which include timestamps, the address, and remember that transaction is linked to another block. So when that transaction is linked to another block, it forms what? It forms a chain. That's why we call it what? Blockchains. Then so we explained data stored in blockchain, they are always public. We shall get to know this when we are doing our analysis physically. So this statement is partially correct. So the use case will be determined. So now this one, it take us back to the use case that we had explained earlier, that the use case of the blockchains, others are public, others are private. So it will also come on the use case of the blockchain. So the use case, others can be public, which is access to everyone, and others are private. Now when you're looking at private means that the transactions within the blockchain is limited or is restricted to a particular groups of people, or within the control or within the organizations. Like for examples, we can build a smart contract, or maybe logistic or shipping solutions which will use like blockchain technologies. So like the notable example, we can build using a smart contract that when goods arrive at the destinations, then make payment. So that payment will be depending on the blockchain escrow, waiting for the goods to be delivered. So the moment a good is delivered, so the payment is automatically transacted to what? To the sender of the good. So now since it's private, meaning that the people within that community, they will be around the one to do transaction within that blockchain environment. So we explained about public blockchain is completely decentralized. User can become a member of the blockchain network. This means they can only store and send and receive data within that environment. So the permission to read and write data on the network are shared equally within that restricted environment. And then the best notable example of the public blockchain is what? Is Bitcoin. That is the most the notable examples. Let's look at there is some question here we need to answer ourselves, that there is only one blockchain. Do you agree? Yes. So the explanation they're trying to give us is the term is most often used to describe a ledger technology, not specific product or solution. So blockchain solution will have the same common denominator such as distributed ledger, underpinned by cryptography and having some of the consensus mechanism. We shall get to know some of those terminology later on when we are doing our analysis. We shall get to know things like proof of work, we shall get to know things like proof of stakes. So we shall get to know some of those things. So the notable example of blockchain, we shall have the Bitcoin, we shall have Ethereum network, we shall have Solana, we shall have the Binance network chain, we shall look at Avalanche, Polkadot. There are very many things among others. Some are similar while others are differ. For example, proof of work and proof of stake, they are different. We shall get to know more. Like with the proof of work, there are some mathematical algorithm that is involved to compute such that a block of transaction is compared against the other one. So each blockchain solution will have specific advantage and disadvantage over the other one, and the use case will also be different. So let's look at something about smart contract. Let's look at something. We cannot discuss blockchain without smart contract. So smart contract, these are legal documents. When we're talking about smart contract, the term can be misleading, but they are neither smart nor contract. Let me explain that. I know you guys are becoming confused there, but don't worry. Actually, smart contract is a written transaction instruction triggered by an event. For example, we can say if good arrive at a warehouse. Remember the other example I've given you. If good arrive at a warehouse by this date, release payment to the supplier. So this parameter, this condition is written or is coded or is programmed within a certain application, which is that application must run on a blockchain network. Then we shall call it smart contract. So if this application is written and once the condition is met, that's why it becomes what? It becomes smart contract. So it will remove the intermediaries. I means like someone to be between the party of the transaction. So just as digital, in other words, we are explaining the definition of smart contract is just a digital program that automates the execution of business logics, obligations, and agreements. So let's look at some of the gap within the ecosystem of the blockchains. So the gap one we are having is a blockchain being peer-to-peer ledger technology can records between two parties efficiently and technology. So even though the blockchain technology composed of that secure hash algorithm, we are still having that challenge of security breach, and the world have registered a number of cases, number of hacks, scams happening between the blockchain network. We shall get to know more how those things are happening. So our major threat our major gap in between blockchain technology, which one, we have new technology come with different tools, new method for exploitations, like Bitcoin. Right now we have Bitcoin was a proof of work. Now we are going to proof of stakes, which is coming with different technologies. So this different technology comes with different protocols. When we are meaning different protocols, we mean different rules. So we have like challenge in integrating some of these blockchains. So some of this challenge ended up creating security weakness. That's why, like, if a Solana network trying to interlink with let's say like BNB network, Binance chain network. So at the end of the day, there is that bridge they need to build. So that bridge Remember, Solana network was built on different protocols, different security measures. BNB was also built on different networks. So at the end of the day, that security breach give us a lot of challenges on that. So like for example, different network employ different components which carry different security risks. For example, identity verification, consensus incentive, miners, proof of work versus proof of stake. So these gaps, so this created gaps in interlinking the existing technology of the blockchain. I think for the purpose of time, I'm seeing we have so far spent like 20 minutes here. We are going to end this video here, then we shall continue with the next one. So see you in the next round of the video. Peace.